Everyone, Reverend Dr. Katie here. I hope you're doing really well. And I just finished writing an email. A lot of you are going to get the email if you're on my email list. And the writing the email kind of put some things into perspective for me. So I thought, let me go live and just talk about this. So that's what I'm talking about. And the subject today is when you feel like life whiplash. And my question that I'm going to say yes to for everyone is, can metaphysics really, really help when you're feeling the whiplash of life? So I know that they can. But as I was putting together my laundry list of the whiplash that we're all collectively feeling from the past 16 months of living in pandemic, of all the social unrest, of movements for justice that have been going on that are all good. Those are things we need in life, but they can also feel really draining. I put together my own personal list of things that maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago might have kind of sucked me into a different story than they currently have in my life. And as I started listing it, I was like, oh my gosh, well, no wonder I'm feeling like I have a little bit of whiplash from the year. I had a COVID-19 diagnosis. My spouse did. My spouse had to go to the hospital. A few months later, I had an intestinal diagnosis with diverticulitis, and then I had all these bacterial infections that plagued me for like 6 weeks afterwards. In the middle, there's been like some family drama. There's been global unrest. I've been attending sort of justice meetings and trying to be present to a lot of different communities. It's just been like, it's really been a big year. And I know that had 2020 happened to me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I didn't have in place all of the spiritual, metaphysical practices that really give me some resiliency that I now have in place, I would be in a very, very different spot right now than I currently am. Despite all of that craziness, 2020 and 2021 were actually some really great years. I have thrived spiritually. I've had opportunities to um, enter into these new modalities, into these new learnings. I've gotten to work with amazing people. I've loved everything that I've gotten to do in the year, even if I was doing it in a really, really different way than I initially thought that I would. And so, in the middle of that, when we have these big life challenges, when we have what I call these moments of contrast, does metaphysics really help? And it really does. And one of the reasons that entering into this deeply metaphysical space and really giving some attention to that, really exploring it, one of the ways that's really helpful is because when we do that, we come into a space of unity. It doesn't mean we never have questions. It doesn't mean we never have struggles or hardships because we're alive. Those are to be expected. That's part of our human experience. But when we live in this deeply metaphysical way, when we really adopt that deep inside our souls, we can get in touch with our intuition. We can lay to rest some of the big doubts that kind of keep us from getting started. And when we can do that, we live in a seamless flow of deep trust with ourselves. And the deep trust doesn't mean nothing bad ever happens. It doesn't mean there's never a pandemic. It doesn't mean that we don't have to face, those realities of life. It means that we greet them in a very different way. It means we have the capacity to draw strength from those moments of challenge and enter into them more in a more Christ-like and spirit-filled way. And this doesn't have anything to do with faith. So I want to tweak our understanding of that kind of right at the beginning. This isn't faith that everything's going to turn out okay. It is a faith and a way of being that you can handle and transmute and energetically greet absolutely anything that comes your way. And that you can do that with actually a spirit of fun. You can do that with the spirit of competency in your life once you have these skill sets and energetic way of living metaphysically. So, does metaphysics help? Do metaphysical practices help integrate us so that we can face the ups and downs of life, even really, really big challenges, with more grace, with more ease, with more of a sense of exactly who we are without all the second guessing? Yes. So I'm living proof. I know that people I've worked with are also living proof. I was just speaking with someone the other day, one of my graduates, and she was like, "Oh, you know what? Like this is like the dividends just keep on coming. Like the unfolding layers of living metaphysically continue to be beneficial in life." And so once we kind of get our foundations really, really started with that, it yields such fruit in our lives. It yields such a way of being that can never, ever be taken away. So the challenges come and go, challenges come and go, but that Christ centered way of living deeply in union with the energetic world around us is something that is yours forever once you really have all of that down. So, one of the things that living metaphysically can help us do in a really, really high vibration way is kind of build the bridge. So, it builds the bridge from where we are to where we want to be. And the gap that many of us are facing is whiplash from 2020. But sometimes it feels like there's insurmountable things keeping us from living the best metaphysical life that we possibly can. Maybe it's old voices in your head. Maybe it's old programming that says you can't trust yourself, that everything that's, when we talk about chakras, when we talk about energy, that's either a lie or it's demonic. Maybe that's some of the programming that you face, or maybe you just don't know where to get started. Like it feels really overwhelming, and you don't have a go place. And so whatever that is, whatever that gap is, once you can identify it, you can actually start to envision the bridge across it, and you can enter into that place of union, of full integration, of really having that foundation where nothing can be taken from you because you know how to face this part of life. You know how to have those questions answered. And then once you're able to kind of start that process, all these things start to fall into place. You start to notice the synchronicities. You start to feel at ease. You are able to pursue the things that you want to pursue, and you're able to identify what those are. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, because just imagine if everyone in this group, this amazing group, y'all know how much I love you. Imagine if everyone in this group was able to do that, and the impact we were having on the world, that we already have on the world, but imagine that was growing and growing and growing. Imagine if, all of us, if we all had one other person in our lives who was also living that way. Imagine the impact. So you see where I'm going. This is part of the mission of the world that, I believe that Christ has laid upon each and every one of us. Like, we're all here for a reason. We're all here connected in this group for a reason. So living this way impacts you and your personal life, and that's radically important. I want that deep-seated joy for everyone, and I want it for the world. And that's really what we're all about here. So I'm so happy you're on board, that you're part of this mission. Those of you who feel like this is something that's, within your current calling, that this is something that is calling to you to have this deep-seated place of integration, of unity, do sign up for the training. We're having a training in a few days. I put the link in the description, so you can sign up for that. Replays are going to be available. I'm going to be talking about what it's like to build that bridge. I have these really cool hands-on exercises around intuition, around identifying your desires, your spiritual path, and you really, really start to build that spiritual path, kind of like one stepping stone at a time for yourself in the training. And so you're going to begin that process in the training. So the training is Bridge the Gap, and it's exploring the metaphysical life that you definitely deserve, and I show you how to get started on that journey. And so I'd love to have you there. Again, registration is in the link is in the description of this video, and if you can't make it live, there will also be replays, so do go ahead and sign up, and you'll get all the information about the replays too. All right, so can metaphysics help you live your best life, even with all these contrasts, diagnoses, whiplash of 2020, all the stuff that has been thrown at us? Yes 100%, it absolutely can. But you have to kind of be intentional about the journey and go ahead and get started. So that's one way to do it. I hope to see many of you there. It will be really fun. I love interacting with you all live. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. You can be sure to tag me, and I will talk to all of you really soon.